So these are the garden notes for October 18th of 21. At the moment, the moon is 92% of full. So we are coming towards the end of the optimal moon phase for planting new seeds. The seeds I put down recently were done basically back around the 15th when it was less full. Now, last week I talked about some plants that I had started in the 10-ounce plastic cups. And what I've done here is that I have transplanted some of the romaine lettuce into 6-inch pots, which I will grow indoors, kind of as a demonstration project to encourage other people to do some indoor growing, particularly over the winter in the cold areas. Now, the thing about the cold areas this year is that they are not going to have the kind of supplies of greens from California that they had because the crops have been drastically cut due to the drought. So you have to do it for yourself. Last week, I also mentioned the lentil shoots that I was growing. This is their current state after 2 weeks. What I did is I started with a tablespoon of lentils that I just bought at the grocery store and soaked it for about 8 hours. And then I spread it out on a sheet of burlap that I keep wet so they can have moisture. Here's something else that I started recently. These are Daikon radish sprouts. This is 2 tablespoons soaked for 8 hours and then spread over burlap. I do this for my acupuncturist once a month and she enjoys them very much. These are some of the new plants that I started just in the last day or two. There are 15 pots here. These are things that will probably go into the hydroponic system or be sold or given away to other people. And then here's 4 more pots. There are 2 pots of romaine lettuce and 2 pots that have 9 radishes in them. So I'm looking forward to having some nice, crispy, spicy radishes in whatever, 2 or 3 weeks. So the planting that I've done during the peak time of this moon cycle includes green romaine, bok choy, collards, chard, kale, and radishes. Now, a while back, I saved seeds from some peppers that we bought at the store and started plants from them. And here we have 3 of those plants. And what you're seeing here is a support that I built today for them. And the reason is that although these plants are growing well, the wind is blowing them around, and I decided it would be a good idea to have some way to support them. So this is something I made out of some 1/2-inch PVC that I had laying around from previous projects. And this shows how I attached this frame to the flood tray, basically drilled 2 1/4-inch holes in the tray and then used zip ties to attach these pipes to the tray. And here you see the 3-way join, which I didn't need all 3 ways, but I did need the 2 ways for an elbow. And then on top, I have this section here, which is intended to stiffen the crossbeam on this. This 1/2-inch PVC is pretty flexible, but with this, I'm able to strengthen the middle section and it should hold up better. Although these plants, basically will be pretty self-supporting, but I wanted to keep them from blowing around. And then the strings are tied with square knots down on the plant. And then on top, I have these knots that are called taut line hitches. These are easy to make. You can look up diagrams on YouTube and elsewhere. But the advantage of these is that they are adjustable. And once you have them in place, they will hold quite well. Now here is a sample of some of the flowers that I have in the back. And the reason I mention these is because they are called African marigolds. And as you can see, the blossoms are quite large. This one on the top here is almost 3 inches across. We actually planted those only about 2 months ago. So it's turned out that we've had some nice late season plants. And here is a sample of a drying head from one of these flowers. And what I'm intending to do with this is to let it dry out completely, and I will save the seeds to plant sometime later, maybe in the spring, maybe several crops. The last thing I want to talk about is a concept called fertigation. It's not that complicated, but what it really means is that when you water plants, instead of just watering them, you apply a weak solution of your fertilizer, and this provides a continuous supply of food as well as water. And the reason I recommend this is based on my experience with my hydroponic systems, where the plants have continuous access to water and fertilizer in the nutrient solution and air from the various pumps. And you see things growing very well in this situation. And when you pull up the rafts that the plants sit in, you do not typically see the kind of huge root balls you see in-ground plants because they don't need a lot of roots to get the moisture and nutrients they need.